Congratulations on getting to the third page of Waltz from Adventures of Ivan. We're going to go over the right hand for the third page today. We're going to start off with a continuation of the type of staccato chords we were playing at the bottom of the second page. Now, recall that even though it's not written as staccato, they are staccato. If you go to the second page, you'll see that they write simile on the end of the fourth line, and that means it's still staccato, they just don't want to write it anymore. So, we're going to start off the page. We were just on the chord with our thumb on E above middle C, 3-finger B flat, 4-finger on C above middle C. That's what we were playing at the bottom of the second page. So, let me see if there's a difference here. No, same chord we're going to be starting with on the beginning of the third page. So we play 3 quarter note chords, E, B flat, and C. I like the thumb 3-finger, 4-finger pattern. If you have trouble reaching that, you can always use thumb 4, 5, but I like thumb 3, 4 if you can reach it. So that's one measure. Now we're going to be creeping up with our thumb one at a time, each measure. So the second measure, we'll have thumb on F, still 3-finger B flat, 4-finger on C, and then it creeps up again, thumb on F sharp, 3-finger still on B flat, 4-finger on C, and then the next measure, thumb on G, 3-finger B flat, 4-finger C. So, listen to how it creeps up. Now you can hear me getting louder. We do have a crescendo there. Now, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be playing some kind of octaves and close to octaves. So we'll start off with our thumb on A above middle C and our 5-finger on the, actually it's on the F. So we're actually going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're playing 6. Now, this passage has no staccatos. So, it's going to be held legato, just with some accents. It wants us to accent the first chord, and then not the second, and then the third, not the next one, then the second. So it's like every other chord they want us to accent. Now accent just means play it louder, right? So let's do a loud chord first to A and the F, and then we're going to scooch down a little bit. Our thumb will be playing G sharp above middle C, and our 5-finger will be playing E. We're going to play that twice. Second time accented. Then we're going to be playing thumb on G, and you can use 4-finger on E flat. And we repeat it again, accented the second time. Then we're going to be playing thumb on F sharp, 5-finger D, and then that's the end of the first line. But it will repeat again because it's edging on to the second line. So this is the first line so far. We got the first staccatos. Now we have the accented. Oh, sorry. Accent. Now we're going to repeat. We're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep doing that pattern. Still the F sharp D for the second repetition of it, accented. Then we're going to have thumb on F, 4-finger on D flat. Repeat it the second time and accent. Then thumb on E, 5-finger on C. Repeat it again, accent the second time. And then thumb on D sharp, 5-finger on B. Now we're going to do an interesting little pattern in the third measure. And now, to me, I would want to play, it's the same D sharp, And then I would play the B with my forefinger, because to me it's easier to repeat my forefinger than it is to repeat my 5 finger. But you can play with it and see what's best for you. So the thumb, well really it's the pedal that's going to sustain your D sharp here, because the D sharp is a dotted half note tied to another dotted half note in the next measure. So it's just going to stay. And then while you're holding that, your right hand is going to play the B a number of other times. It's going to have a dotted quarter note, followed by an eighth, followed by a quarter. Your pedal is on to help sustain the D sharp. And then here's the eighth note quarter pattern. And we're going to do it again. Dotted quarter, followed by eighth quarter. So I really like that pattern. We're going to do it again here with a different note underneath that's getting held. And this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th measure of the second line. Now we're going to have our thumb on F. We're going to have our 2 finger on A. We're going to have our 3 finger on B. Now the F and the A will get held for 2 measures. They're dotted half notes tied to another dotted half note. The pedal will sustain it. You don't even have to hold the 1 and 2 finger down, because you can use the pedal to sustain that chord. And the 3 finger is going to play that repeated B in the same pattern. Dotted quarter note, followed by eighth, followed by quarter. It's going to do it twice. So it sounds like this. I really like that. Now there is a poco retard here. So what it means is by the time you're playing that pattern for the second time here, you're going to slow down. And it makes it much more interesting if you do that. So here's the second line together, all together. Let's see, yeah. We slowed down a little bit. Now, we're going back to a familiar sound that we did on the first page. We're going to start with this part again. So we're going to do that again. We're going to start with our right hand, 3 finger on D sharp. It's a dotted half note, gets held for the whole measure. Then the right hand has an eighth rest where it doesn't do anything, and the left hand will come in. And then the right hand plays its eighth note, dotted quarter, eighth note pattern. 3 finger will play D sharp, eighth note, followed by 2 finger C sharp, the dotted quarter note, followed by thumb on B, the eighth note. Then it goes back to D sharp, dotted half note, gets held for the whole measure. Then the eighth note rests again, and then the eighth dotted quarter, eighth pattern again. Same as we did before. Now we're going to do the same notes, D sharp, C sharp, B, but no eighth rest this time. So we're going to have dotted quarter note, D sharp, with the 3 finger, then 2 finger, C sharp, eighth note, then thumb on B, quarter note. Now this last measure of the line, all quarter notes, 3 finger, D sharp, thumb on B, and I would cross my 2 finger over to G sharp. Now this whole line sounds like this. To cross either. You could do 3, 2, thumb if you wanted to on that. That might be better. Because then you're launching into the 4th line, which is 3 finger on C sharp. And that gets held for 2 measures, 2 dotted half notes tied together. Then we play it again for another dotted half note. Then we have an eighth rest, and we're going to have that eighth note, dotted quarter, eighth note pattern again. C sharp 3 finger, 2 finger on B, then thumb on A, then 3 finger C sharp for the whole measure, another dotted half note. Then we have that eighth note rest, followed by the eighth note, dotted quarter, eighth note pattern again. Now the last measure of this line, I'd put my 3 finger on the A instead of my thumb. That's a dotted quarter, followed by an eighth note. It's actually E sharp. Now if you look at it, E sharp is actually F, but they write it E sharp because sometimes it's easier for the composer to do that. So you're going to have your thumb on F, which is E sharp in the music, and then your 2 finger will go to F sharp. So it's the dotted quarter, eighth note E sharp or F, 2 finger, quarter note on F sharp. The whole line sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. Now the last line, we have the eighth rest, followed by a bunch of eighth notes. We're going to play thumb on D sharp, then 2 finger F sharp, and 3 finger G sharp. I cross my thumb up to A, and then 3 finger C sharp. Then the next measure is a G sharp with my thumb, and this is a dotted half note tied to another dotted half note, so we hold it for 2 measures, or 6 counts. Then we're going to have our 3 finger go to D sharp, 2 D sharps above middle C, dotted half note that's held for the whole measure. Then we have an eighth rest with the eighth note, dotted quarter, eighth note rhythm. 3 finger plays D sharp, 2 finger C sharp, thumb to B. Then we go back to 3 finger D sharp, held for a dotted half note, the whole measure. Then another eighth rest with exactly the same eighth note, dotted quarter, eighth note pattern. D sharp, C sharp, thumb to D. Now this whole line sounds like this. Rest. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. And that is the right hand for the third page.